Hello, my loves. It's Tiffany, the Miracles Coach. So, I wanted to drop in because I had some things that kind of dropped in after I recorded my Miracles Unscripted audio yesterday, which this happens all the time because most of the time I'm going off the cuff and I obviously don't have any notes or any script or anything. So, I'm kind of just going with whatever comes through. And sometimes things will come through after I'll be enlightened by something. I'll be like, ooh. So, I don't know whether I'm going to tack this on to the end of the one that I did yesterday because I don't know what's going to come through today. Because even though I came in to tell you something intentional, I may have something else drop through. So I just wanted to share. But I will say that one of the things about the fire horse energy that I really, really also want to make clear, because I was saying, get yourself connected to this energy. And honestly, you're connected to it anyway. Whether you want to be or not, you are connected to the energy because it's what's happening in the world. You know, it's just like whatever is going on, it pretty much affects all of us. Now, of course, we can opt out of things or we can say, well, that doesn't apply to me, that kind of thing. But you want this energy. But the key is that you want it in the right way, because the thing about fire horse energy and the thing about this acceleration and momentum energy is that you're going to build and create acceleration and momentum no matter what you're doing. You just want to make sure that you're running in the right direction, right? If your horse is running, you want it to be running in the right direction, in the direction that you desire to go, right? So it's all about what you believe, your faith, your beliefs, what you're allowing into your life, where your boundaries are, the person you are being, right? All of that stuff matters so much. And it's so interesting because that's what I was meaning when I said that I had been releasing and shedding and all of that. I was making decisions. I've made a ton of decisions over the past year. I started very early in the year and I was like actually just having a conversation with my husband yesterday and I was just like telling him like I am literally a completely different Tiffany than the Tiffany that walked into 2025. Like this Tiffany that is in 2026 right now, I am completely different. I have completely transformed everything about myself. I don't even recognize the old one anymore. It's almost like, who is that person? And everything that I do, everything I've done in 2025, everything that I've done up to this point over the past year or so has been, I've made decisions based on where I was going, where I knew I was headed, right? Because when I stepped into 2025, like I said, I am never having a bad life. It's not even like well, I guess I could call it mediocre in the way that, you know, sometimes it just feels very status quo. It just feels very normal, very natural. Like, yes, you're very blessed, but there's nothing super exciting going on. But I made every decision, not based on where I was, not based on a number I saw in my bank account. I made every decision that I made last year from where I knew I wanted to be. So I invested, and I always invest in myself. I've always been a really big investor in myself because I just believe that that is the number one thing that we all need to do in our lives. We need to invest in ourselves, energy wise, financially, you know, all of those different things. And then we also need to be investing in ourselves in a way that is not about who I am now. Because if we made every investment and every decision based on the person that we are today, we wouldn't make, or a lot of people wouldn't make half the decisions that they make, right? You can't just focus on who you are, because if you're looking at the bank account right now and you're saying, oh, well, I don't have that, or I can't do that because of this, and I only make this, and this is only enough for this, and da 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 da. You're always going to be in that place because you're going to constantly make decisions from the person who doesn't have enough. But when I decided early 2025, I'm not this person anymore. Like, I am a new person. Like God said, we're doing a new thing, then let's go. Where's the new thing out? Let's do that. But the thing is that God can't give you the new thing until you step into it. Like, God wants it. Like, the new thing is here. It's present. The miracles era, the millions in miracles era, whatever era that you want to be in, it's here. It's already here. But you have to consciously choose to step into it. And once you do, that is what changes the game for you. That is what changes the trajectory of your life and everything that you're doing. But it still starts with decision. And as a matter of fact, I'll go into this very, very briefly because I have a 3-step manifestation process: decide, surrender, embody. I believe that those are literally the only 3 steps you need to manifest anything you want in your life. I've done it multiple times. My clients have proven it. It's a proven process, okay? And it's funny because I hear lots of people out in the world using the same exact process. They just call it something different. We all have our own like words for it, or our own like different pieces of it, but at the end of the day, it's all basically the same. Like, it's still basically the same 3 steps, because really there is no other recipe for miracles and manifestation but this process, right? So I'm not saying that my process is better than anybody else's. I think we all basically use the same process. We just have a different formula for it, if that makes sense. Mine is decide, surrender, and body. And so decision is the very first layer of everything that you're doing. There's so much that comes from decision, and I break, this down into so many different pieces so you can understand the difference between desire, intention, decision, all of those things. Like, I break all of it down for you so you can see how each part works and why each part is so vital to whatever it is that you're creating. Because once you have that clarity, once you claim it, once you do all those things, that is what changes the game. It's the decision. It's literally the starting point. If you don't decide that you're having something, and if you don't make your decisions about who you're going to be being, right, in the world, you're not going to get the thing. So it starts there. If you skip this part, you're not going to get what you want, because the decision is and I always want to say it's the most important part. It's not. They're all super important. That's why each part is in the process, because they're all so important. But you have to decide. So when I went into 2025, I decided that not only was I one with God, not only was I a super miraculous woman, not only was I meant to be a millionaire and going to be a millionaire. And honestly, I didn't have the millionaire vision in 2025. It was just, I'm going to be wealthy. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to create things that I haven't created before in this year. Like, this is going to be a new year. This is going to be a new experience. Everything in this year is going to be exquisite, right? That's one of my new favorite words. So I say exquisite all the time. I had a mindset that was driving me towards those things because I had decided I'm a new creature. I am a new being, and I'm going to be the woman who I desire to be now, and I'm not going to wait for my bank account to reflect it and all of those things. Now, keep in mind, I've shared with you guys, my husband, he does very well in his career, and so we have a very wealthy, abundant life. But I also have to sometimes choose things for myself that require my own money, right? So sometimes I don't always have the money that I want to invest in something. And even though I could ask my husband for it, also I have to think about, well, would me, millionaire Tiffany, or me, the Tiffany that I'm stepping into, like the woman that I'm remembering that I am, like, does she really need permission from her husband to do whatever it is that she wants to do? No. So then I make decisions based on what I am going to do, and then I do it. And I don't need anybody's approval, right? I don't need to check in with him, or there are certain, aspects, of course, married couples, we have conversations about things. So, and look, this ain't marriage advice. This ain't me telling you nothing about whether you should be consulting your husband, whatever. That's your business. However you run your marriage, how you run your marriage is not my business. What I'm saying is that there are things that we do discuss, yes, but there are also things that sometimes for my own personal growth and well-being and evolution, I know that there are some decisions that I just have to make for myself. So sometimes if I want to invest in coaching or something like that, or I want to invest in myself and in my business and things like that, those are things that I do on my own, and I don't really discuss them with my husband because I don't really think it's necessary. I choose what I'm going to do, and then I do it. And that has served me greatly, because I think I talked about this briefly in one of my audios. I was saying sometimes I would felt like my husband had all the power because he makes more money and stuff like that. And so I felt like I always had to have his quote unquote, I don't think that I was looking at it as permission, but that's really what it was. Like, I was asking his permission to do everything, or asking if it was okay if I invest in this or invest in that. And I just got to a point where I was just like, I don't want to have these conversations, because see, my husband is very different from me. He's very logical. So he looks at everything from a straightforward standpoint. Like, this is what I believe, this is what I think, and this is what I think we should do based on these facts, right? The logic. And I'm not a logical person at all. I don't believe in logic, because I know that God moves beyond logic. God is beyond all logic, all science, or like anything that you can come up with. God moves beyond that. So and honestly, and that's what frustrates me so much with him, because I'm just like, if you look at the things that we've created in our life, it's already beyond logic. Like, I could point out a million things that have happened in our lives and the things that we experience and the life that we live right now that defy logic. None of this stuff makes sense if we're really looking at the real situation. So I don't believe in that. So when he starts talking with his logic stuff, I'd be like, yeah, that's good. I know what I need to do. So now I don't even bother talking to him. I just go straight to God, and I go straight to the source, and I get what I want that way, right? And sometimes it does come through him. Like, sometimes God will use him in the thing, and I will get whatever I'm asking for that way. Or it'll come through my business, or it'll come through a different way, or whatever. It doesn't matter to me where the money comes from, because the channels are infinite, right? God creates his own channels. So if God is creating channels, and God can use any channel that he desires, and I know that every channel that he has is unlimited because he is unlimited, then there are no limitations, right? So I have a story that I want to share with y'all, but I'm probably going to share it in a different audio because that wasn't the purpose of this one. The main key of this one was just to remind you that, and I had kind of didn't remember to say this yesterday, or it didn't really come through, but when I recorded the audio, I was like, oh shoot, I didn't even remind them that it's not just about getting connected to the energy, because you're connected whether you want to be or not. It's just what's happening. But at the same time, you can turn up the dial in the direction that you want it to go. So the key is making sure that you are in the right energy, that you're in the right season, that you're doing the right things, you're taking the right steps, you are taking actions and making decisions from the woman that you know that you are and where you're going. Like, you got to remember who you are, right? Remember who you are and whose you are in every situation. So if you remember, if in every situation I ask myself, well, who am I and whose am I? And I know that I am Tiffany, I'm a miracle, I am a catalyst, I am the portal, I am the power. Everything that I want or desire flows from God through me, and I am one with the source of all things, and his channels are infinite. What else is there to know, right? So if you know all of those things, then it really is easy to make decisions, because then you can say, well, I feel like I might not have the money to do this, but I know that if this is meant for me, then God is going to provide the money for me to do this. And what happens is we are so wishy-washy in the stuff that we ask for and the stuff that we choose. We'll say, this is what I want, and then we'll talk ourselves out of it and give ourselves a million reasons why it can't be the thing. And oh God, I wish I could run it all down for you, but I can't right now. But I promise I have so much to share with you guys that I cannot wait to be able to share all of these things. But I'll just say this. People limit themselves based on their own thinking. Because see, the heart knows. So the heart automatically feels it. I believe that every desire that we have comes from God. If you have been able to desire it, if you have been able to think it up, if you have been able to dream it, it is meant for you. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the desire. Like I told you, everybody in the world doesn't have $1 million vision. I was actually just listening to a girl the other day on YouTube, and she was talking about why she was annoyed that everybody was talking about being millionaires this year. And I was obviously intrigued, because I was like, well, I'm talking about being a millionaire this year. What you got to say about it, right? Because I know I got a download from God. I know I'm going to be a millionaire this year. But what do you have to say? I was curious. And what she was saying, which actually I agree with her 100%, what she was saying was that we've created this false narrative out in the coaching world that, everybody has to be a millionaire now, and that should be your goal. And if it's not your goal or whatever, you're not doing things right. And if you're not making it, you're not doing things right. And what she was saying was that she makes $50K a month. She was like, I'm happy, I'm content. Like $1 million is I'm not even anywhere near that number. And that's fine. But then I was listening to another coach recently, and I think I told you guys yesterday, I was listening to the lady talking about miracle walks, and she was actually what I loved about her, and this is why nothing was wrong with the first girl, because I actually agreed with her. Like, it's not everybody's vision. It's not everybody's dream. Because honestly, it's not everybody's calling. Everybody's not called to be a millionaire. However, then the other lady that I was talking about, though, she was saying, but stop making it about you. Because just because you don't personally need $1 million doesn't mean that you can't fund something else, or fund the kingdom, or create charity situations, or feed homeless people, or feed children. Like, who knows what God wants to do in your life. So you can't just be like, well, I don't really need that much. Well, you may not need that much for you, but it doesn't mean that God can't use you if you have it. And it doesn't mean that God doesn't want to give it to you. But honestly, like I said, if you don't have that vision, it may not be meant for you, and that's okay. But sometimes we have the vision. Like, we will say, well, I really would like this thing, or I would love it if I had this, but I don't really need that much. Like, we'll change our minds. Or I don't really have the money to do that. I can't really invest in that. I can't really do that right now, because my bank account doesn't match what the vision is. And sometimes it isn't meant for you to do right away. But what it is that you make a decision. You say, okay, well, I don't see how that can happen today, but I know that this is for me. I believe that this is for me, and I'm going to trust God to create the way, right? I'm going to allow God to make it happen. You get what I'm saying? So this fire horse energy is powerful, and you want to be connected to it in the right way. So you want to be making decisions based on who you are and whose you are. That's the only way you should be making decisions. And that's the only energy you need to be connecting with, this fire horse energy. Because if you come into this year and into this energy with this being afraid and talking yourself out of things, and really looking at things like, I can't do this, I don't have enough to do this, I don't have the whatever to do this. Like, if you keep looking at things like that, you're going to accelerate that energy. you're going to end up creating more of that in your life. And that's not what we want to do. This year is going to be extraordinary. This is a miraculous year. I already knew before I came into this year that it was going to be amazing. But the more people talk about it online, the more excited I get, because it's a collective energy. And I feel like there was a collective kind of weirdness going on after COVID and all that stuff, and with, the politics, and yeah, it's a lot going on. So there's already been a collective, like, what the is going on, right? Like, we're all trying to figure it out here. Last year was that shedding energy. So there was a lot of what's happening. Like, I like, and maybe it's not bad. I just don't understand why things aren't lining up the way that I want it to. But see, this year, that's not the energy. This year, the energy is everything's lining up. You just got to make sure that you're running in the right direction. Everything is going to unfold that you need to unfold in the way that it needs to unfold, but you got to make sure you're in alignment, that you're in the right energy. Okay? So that's the key. So I wanted to make sure that I shared that, because like this year, I told you guys that this year was going to be my freedom year, and God has had multiple downloads drop in. I don't remember when I got the freedom message, but I recorded it in an old Miracle Unscripted episode, so it'll be dated whenever you hear it in the private podcast. But I talked about this, like the freedom that I was going to create. I am literally on a freedom journey this year, and God is already showing me. The Millions download was already showing me freedom, right? Because financial freedom, that's number one. Then the second thing that dropped in, I told you about on February 10th, another answer to the freedom request or energy, because I don't know, I didn't even ask. It was just like almost like a divine intention. Like, I just knew that it was coming in from beyond me, even though I knew it was me that thought the thought. It was like, it didn't come from me. Does that make sense? You get what I'm saying. I know you understand what I'm saying. I know you've had times where you felt like it just came from nowhere but God. Like, I couldn't have even thought this up myself. So when I got the download on the 10th, I was like, whoa, okay, freedom, yeah. And then the 17th, the day of the fire horse. Then again, another answer to my freedom prayer or intention or decision. Yeah, decision. Yeah. So I just wish I could share it all right now, but I can't. But listen, I promise I will in due time. But I just want you to know, this energy is no joke. It is, and it's acceleration. It's quick. Like, I'm just like, okay, God, wait, let me take notes. Can you slow down for just a second so I can like get my bearings? But it's what I asked for, because like every decision that I made last year, I made with the intention of who I was becoming. And so, like I said, the next time maybe I'll try to remember to drop an episode so I can share a little bit more in detail about that with you and some of the decisions that I made over the past, like, I'd say 9-ish months. I don't know exactly how long, but maybe since like April is when I really started to get intentional about things, and I could see everything just lining up. It's magical. I can't even put it into words. Not magical, miraculous. It's been miraculous. And when I share some of the details and exact things that I did, it'll start to make more sense. And then you can make your decisions based on that. But like I said, get in the right energy, get with a mentor, get with somebody who's really going to help you. Because that's another thing. We don't allow ourselves, especially as women, we want to be superwoman. We want to be the one that does everything. We want to like pretend like we don't need any help or like we don't need support. We do need support. And community is also very important. Just having other people who understand the journey that you're on, because people in your life, they're not going to always understand. Just like I said, when I'm like, I want to invest in this stuff in my business, I want to invest in myself in this way. And my husband's just like, that's a ridiculous amount of money. Yet nobody thinks it's ridiculous when somebody pays thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars to go to college and to get educated or to invest in themselves and in their education. But it's so odd when we want to invest in coaching or invest in something that we see that's outside of the status quo. So anyway, I'm done, because if I go into that, I'll be on a whole other tangent. I love you guys. I just wanted to share that. Hope you're having a beautiful, extraordinary, miraculous day. And yeah, so since, of course, I couldn't keep this one short and sweet like I thought I would, I can attach it to the last audio, so you'll get this one second. So anyway, talk to you soon. Mwah. Lots of love and miracles and millions.